Macy's fingers trembled as she gripped the steering wheel, watching her 7-year-old daughter Willow practice scales on the old upright piano that barely fit in their cramped apartment. The sound was tinny, the keys yellowed and worn, but when Willow played, the whole world seemed to pause and listen. "Your fingers are magic, baby," Macy whispered, watching her daughter's delicate hands dance across the keys. With an intuition that defied her age, Willow couldn't read sheet music yet, but she could hear a song once and reproduce it with haunting accuracy. It was as if music lived in her blood, flowing through her veins like a sacred inheritance. At 25, Macy had built a life from scraps and determination. 2 shifts at the downtown bakery, part-time piano lessons from their living room, and just enough to keep Willow fed and dreaming. The apartment was small, the furniture second-hand, but when Willow played, it transformed into a concert hall filled with possibility. Macy's own childhood had been a different story entirely. The Henderson Mansion on Elm Street stood like a monument to perfection, polished floors, pristine walls, and a family that valued appearance over love. Her mother, Jolene, had been a piano virtuoso who turned music into a weapon, wielding criticism like a conductor's baton. Her sister Vanessa had been the golden child, beauty queen and valedictorian, living in the shadow of parental approval that Macy had never received. "Too emotional," Jolene would say when Macy cried during difficult pieces. "Weak hands, weak heart." The piano lessons had been a battlefield where love was conditional, tied to perfect execution and flawless performance. When Macy became pregnant at 18, she had fled that house like a refugee, escaping war, taking nothing but her music degree and an unshakable determination to raise Willow differently. The Henderson family had not taken the separation well. They viewed Macy's single motherhood as a failure, a stain on their pristine reputation. For over a year, they had maintained radio silence, occasionally sending birthday cards that felt more like obligations than gifts. When they reached out through Vanessa's concerned visit to the bakery, Macy should have known it was a trap. "Mom's asking for you," Vanessa had said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "She says she's changed." The words had cut deeper than intended. Because Macy knew that people like Jolene didn't change, they adapted their cruelty to new circumstances. Willow had looked up from her homework, with hope shining in her eyes. "Do Grandma and Auntie remember me?" The question had been a knife to Macy's heart because it revealed something she hadn't realized. Her daughter carried the same desperate need for acceptance that had nearly destroyed her own childhood. Against every instinct screaming danger, Macy had agreed to the family visit. She told herself it was for Willow, that maybe, just maybe, her family had learned compassion. The Henderson Mansion looked exactly as she remembered, cold, imposing, and radiating the same unwelcome that had made her childhood a prison of perfection. Jolene descended the grand staircase in a cream silk robe, looking like a queen surveying peasants. Her smile was sharp enough to cut glass, and when she looked at Willow, Macy saw the same calculating assessment she remembered from her own youth. "So, you brought the child," Jolene said, her voice carrying the same dismissive tone she'd used for years. "She's your granddaughter," Macy replied, the words heavy with meaning. "I don't recall voting for that title." Vanessa appeared from the shadows, her smile sweet as poisoned honey. "Willow plays piano, right? Let's hear what you've learned." The suggestion was innocent on the surface, but Macy caught the undertone of mockery, the same condescending tone that had haunted her own musical development. Willow, ever eager to please, had climbed onto the bench of the grand piano that had dominated the music room since Macy's childhood. The same piano where she'd been criticized for every mistake, every emotional interpretation that didn't match Jolene's rigid standards. Willow's fingers hovered over the keys, trembling with nervous excitement. She began to play Clair de Lune, a piece she'd learned by ear after hearing it on a classical radio station. It wasn't perfect. Her young fingers stumbled over a few transitions. Her timing wasn't precise, but it was filled with something that Jolene's mechanical perfection had never possessed. Soul. The music filled the room like a prayer, and for a moment, Macy saw something flicker in Jolene's eyes. Pride, perhaps, or recognition of genuine talent. But then Vanessa moved with calculated precision, her hand striking the piano lid with enough force to slam it shut. The sound of the heavy lid crashing down echoed like a gunshot. Willow's scream pierced the air as blood spurted from her crushed fingers, her delicate hands trapped beneath the weight of family cruelty. The piano that had once been an instrument of joy had become a weapon of destruction. "Oops! Didn't see her fingers there," Vanessa said, her voice carrying a satisfaction that made Macy's blood freeze. Jolene sipped her tea as if nothing had happened, offering only a dismissive comment. Those fingers had no purpose anyway. Weak things pretending to have talent. Macy's world shattered into before and after. Before, a mother protecting her child from emotional wounds. After, a mother who had allowed physical violence to enter her daughter's life in the name of family reconciliation. The emergency room visit, the doctor's grim assessment of fractured bones and damaged tendons, the months of therapy that would be required. All of it became a countdown to justice. The piano lessons stopped. Willow's hand was splintered, her playing days on hold. She flinched when anyone reached toward her, and the light that had once filled her eyes when music played was replaced by fear and confusion. "Mommy, why did Auntie do that?" she asked repeatedly, and Macy had no answer that didn't involve the word evil. But from destruction came transformation. Macy reached out to Curtis Langley, a music curator she'd met at a charity event months earlier. His reputation for discovering hidden talent was matched only by his commitment to helping young musicians overcome obstacles. When she explained Willow's situation, his response was immediate and decisive. "There's a rehabilitation program for young musicians who've experienced trauma," he explained. "It combines physical therapy with musical therapy, helping children rebuild their relationship with their instrument while healing their bodies." The application process was intensive, requiring documentation of both talent and injury. But Curtis believed Willow had a chance. The audition was held at a local church, where an old upright piano served the community's musical needs. Willow, her bandaged hand protected by a soft glove, approached the instrument with trepidation. "Play what you remember," Macy whispered. "Even if it's just one hand." What emerged from those worn keys was not technically perfect, but it was pure. Willow played with her left hand alone, creating melodies that spoke of pain and hope, of dreams deferred but not destroyed. Curtis listened with tears in his eyes, and within days, Willow received acceptance to the program. But Macy's revenge was far from complete. The Henderson family's annual Legacy Gala was their crown jewel, a sophisticated event where they showcased their cultural influence and solicited donations for their arts programs. Vanessa was scheduled to perform on the same grand piano that had crushed Willow's fingers, the instrument now gleaming with renewed polish and purpose. Macy had spent weeks planning, building alliances and gathering evidence. Curtis agreed to attend as a representative of the Heritage Fund, ready to deliver the official letter that would strip the Hendersons of their grant eligibility. The piano that had been a symbol of their musical superiority would become the stage for their downfall. When Vanessa opened the piano lid to begin her performance, she found nothing but empty space. The keys had been removed and replaced with a letter written in Willow's careful handwriting. "Dear Grandma and Auntie, you said my fingers had no purpose. That's okay. Now your piano doesn't either." The gala erupted in chaos. as Curtis delivered his announcement, revealing the family's disqualification from funding due to documented abuse of a minor. The Henderson reputation, built on decades of careful cultivation, crumbled in minutes. Jolene's fundraising partners withdrew their support. Vanessa's professional opportunities evaporated overnight. The final confrontation came when Macy's father appeared at their apartment door. No longer the imposing figure of her childhood, but a broken man watching his empire collapse. "You really hate us that much?" he asked, his voice carrying a mixture of anger and confusion. Macy looked at him with the same cold detachment he had shown when Willow was injured. "Hate?" she replied. "You mean justice. She made my daughter bleed, and you watched." His attempts at reconciliation were met with silence, and he left carrying the weight of consequences he had never considered. Months later, Willow sat at her new keyboard, the one with light-up keys and therapeutic sound modules that helped rebuild her injured hand. Her music had evolved, becoming more complex and emotionally sophisticated. She had named her latest composition 10 Fingers, One Future, a testament to resilience and the power of fighting for those you love. The Henderson mansion stood empty now, its grand piano silent forever, but in a small apartment across town, music still flowed from Willow's fingertips, stronger and more beautiful than ever. Sometimes the greatest symphonies are born from the ashes of destruction, and sometimes a mother's love can orchestrate justice in ways that echo through generations. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments, from where are you watching this?